Hey folks, this is Bob coming at you from Fire Mountain Outdoors. Today we're taking a look at the Lucid HD7. This particular model came to us today from Webyshops.com. The Lucid HD7 is a holographic red dot sight. One of the key features with this model is on the left hand side we have a turret. And with that turret you can select from 4 different reticles. You have your standard elevation and windage adjustments. They have a real nice lanyard that's built into them, which is real nice. One of the neat features about this optic is on the front you'll notice that we have another cap with a lanyard on it. This houses a single AAA battery. And you know what that means, folks? There's no searching all over town trying to find a Radio Shack that's open to get your CR123 battery. One of the cool features with the Lucid HD7 is the auto brightness sensor at the top. What that means, if you're out in a bright day, it's going to make your reticle brighter. Yet if you go into like a dark canopied forest, it's going to make your reticle dimmer. Makes for nicer transitions where you don't have something that's too dim in the bright or maybe too bright in the dark. These particular units are made to mount right on a Picatinny rail. Most of us anymore that are using modern sporting arms have Picatinny rails on our rifles. Rest assured that this will mount up nicely. Another neat feature about this particular mounting system is it's completely reversible. You notice that we have these reversed. Some of the claims on the HD7 is that it's incredibly rugged. You can tell because it's got a solid aluminum body and this nice rubber armor on it. Some other claims that they make is that it's 100% waterproof, 100% fog proof, and it's shock resistant for calibers up to 458 SOCOM.
Let's look at the available reticles here. We have the fine dot, and we have a T dot with some bullet drop compensating hash marks down below it. We've got a chevron also with bullet drop compensating. This reticle is kind of reminiscent of the ACOG to me. This is a circle dot, which I find reminiscent of the EOTech. You know, one of the things I would like to see a little bit better is a more firm, positive locking detent between these. It's kind of a fine and smoochy, not really positive, kind of mushy click. As you can see, it's pretty easy to be off just a little bit and leave it there. Obviously that's gonna make your bullet go not where you want it to go. So if that was a more positive click, that would be one thing that I would improve on the Lucid. And we're on our way down the canyon to go do something I think is pretty silly. What are we gonna do, Bob?
We're working on a review for Webyshops.com for the Lucid HD7. And one of the claims to this great optic is that it is waterproof. We're not talking just water resistant. They claim that this thing has a ridiculous amount of waterproofing to it. So we're going to take this thing and we've got it attached to the rifle. We've been shooting it today. Absolutely just, I'm in love with this sight. For the price it is, I mean, it's great. But we're going to take it to the next level, and we're going to toss this thing in the beaver pond.
Well, and that's one thing, Bob, tossing the scope in the beaver pond, and I understand all of that. But what do you attach? What's the scope attached to?
The scope is attached to your basic run-of-the-mill FN Herstal Scar 16. So I mean, it's just a rifle.
So Bob's gonna throw a scope that we're reviewing in the drink, which is understandable in the quest of scientific knowledge.
Absolutely.
And but he's also throwing in his $3,000 Scar.
It's just money, folks.
It's meant for that, right, Bob?
Yeah. But you know, I'm hoping to actually, you know, if the scope doesn't survive, I guess we bought it. So, you know, we're not just risking the scope or risking our livelihood.
That's right.
Yeah. One of the great things that they say about the Lucid HD7 is that it's waterproof, not just water resistant. It's got real nice O-rings on the elevation and windage turrets, as well as on the battery cover. And when we're out here in this kind of country, it's wet, it's yuck, and you just never know when, oops, I dropped my scar on the water. But it's okay. The optic is waterproof. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to fish that out. We're going to check to see if the optic still works. If I can find it. So what we got here is the FN Herstal Scar 16 with the Lucid on it. I'm holding this up. I've got reticle 1, reticle 2, reticle 3. Everything seems to be working just fine. So like what they say with the Lucid, it appears to be waterproof. And we are taking a look through the Lucid HD7 after being submerged in the water for about a minute. And the results are less than favorable. For what was supposed to be a waterproof optic, appears to have water in the lens. So in Mythbusters they would say myth busted on something like this.
Now, to be fair, Bob, we did. This is the first optic that we've strapped to a scar and threw in the creek. So we did take this to a level above and beyond, as advertised. There may have been some shock or something. That said, that's real world battle use.
Absolutely.
What could happen, and we subjected this to that, and you can see the water must have hit the emitter a little bit too, because you can see that the reticle is really glary and foggy around there, in addition to the inside of the glass being clouded up.
Yeah. This is going to be take 2. We were down here about a month ago and dunked this thing into a beaver pond, and the results were less than spectacular. And from what we did on that testing day, I don't think we did anything that was too abusive. I think that it was probably a real world scenario, and it did not.
Worst case scenario, really.
Yeah,
I mean, you throw on your scar with a nice optic in the creek, or dropping. You know, that is a realistic scenario, and that is a testing scenario that a lot of people wouldn't do for something like this. But we are testing this claim because we're very interested in the site and interested in possibly obtaining those and keeping them for ourselves. So we want you to know real world how tough this is.
It's a good value. I like how it performs when it's not submerged. When you're firing this weapon with this particular sight on, I think it's a nice sight for the price. And I'm interested in keeping it. I just want to make sure that this thing is going to perform the way it says. And so if you do have this particular weapon sight on any rifle that you have, if you accidentally drop it into a creek, is it going to hold up?
That's right.
So we're just going to give a quick test here, make sure the everything's tightened down. I'll hand it to you, see if you get any movement on it, because we don't want any water getting into this thing. And hopefully it'll not get any moisture in it and won't fog up.
Yep, caps are caps are definitely tight, and it should be as you would use it in the field. So what do you say we go put it in the water?
Let's go dunk it. All right, Fire Mountain Outdoors coming at you. We are testing the ruggedness of the Lucid HD7 today. This is our dunk test. We're going to drop this into the water here, and we're going to pull it out, and we're going to see if we're going to get any moisture inside of it, see if it's going to fog up. Fire a few rounds to it, see if maybe the recoil is going to work some water into it. Mark and I have already verified that these lens caps are as tight as they can get with your fingers. So we're going to submerge this right now. And we're going to see how it goes. Just going to hold this by the barrel here because don't want any sort of sediment getting into the barrel. And kind of an odd thing is the water actually seems warmer than the air temperature right now. It's probably about 37 degrees out here. It's a little bit nipply. Testing rifle today is a Scar 16S. It's got a Strike Industries barrel extension on it and one of their fat comps. Red dot is still glowing. Looking through the objective here, I don't appear to see any moisture inside the weapon sight, so far I like what I'm seeing. No fog. And I'm going to run a few rounds through it real quick. Make sure that we don't get any sort of jostling of moisture inside of the optic from the impact of the recoil. So as long as everybody's got their ears in, we're going to run a few rounds into the hillside right here. Got a live round. We're going hot. Everything seems to be working smooth. I do not see any moisture inside the optic, so far I'm feeling pretty confident that this particular optic is not going to fog up on us. So we'll wait and see. We'll get this thing back up into the shop and get everything dried out, and we'll give it our final thoughts. Now let's head back up the hill and check in with Mark as he looks at the Lucid through the OptiView Agubitron 2000 for the second time.
Well, here we're looking at the Lucid HD7 after we brought it out of the water and up into the Fire Mountain testing facility. And as you can see, we're really happy that it still works, but it has fogged up inside. You can see that the reticles, instead of being nice and sharp and clear like they were before, and now they have fogged up. So I think Bob and I are going to have to call BS on the waterproof claim. I think it's definitely a water resistant scope, and I think that it'll be a fine scope if you don't put it in the creek. But that's what we do, is we test these things for you, and we test the manufacturer's claims. And you know, frankly, we're disappointed that this wasn't a victory session where we were able to show you how clear and how perfect it was and how good it was.
Well, Bob, we gave her a whirl and we gave her a swirl twice.
Yes, we did, with the same exact outcome, and it wasn't the outcome we were hoping for or expecting. One thing that Lucid claims on this particular optic, if you've been following along, it's supposed to be waterproof. They don't make any claim on their website or in the instructions how it's waterproof. They don't say up to 33 feet or 32 feet like they do with the EOTech.
Right.
This particular unit makes you believe that I can take this down to 100 feet, it's going to come out, it's going to work, and it's going to be fog resistant or fog proof. And if I accidentally drop it, it's going to keep going.
You know, I didn't think that the testing. I thought that maybe on the first test that we did, that maybe the impact where we actually dropped the weapon into the water, and maybe it struck a rock and that might have cracked the seal or something. I was fully expecting the gentle immersion that we gave this in the very shallow water, with their claims of it being fully waterproof, that we were going to have a successful result today, and we didn't.
No. As you saw in the video, it was submersed gently with only maybe 6 inches at the most, and it was just too much for it to handle. This particular weapon sight, I can, however, recommend it if you live in an arid climate. For those of us that live in a more wet, humid type environment, you know, if you're running around creeks or something, you don't want to lay this anywhere near water. You don't want to accidentally drop it in water. Your results are not going to be great. And I certainly would hope to think that the first one might have been user error. Maybe something wasn't as tight as it possibly could have been. Mm-hmm. With my weak little fingers, you know, I had it as tight as I could. I had you verify this one just in case maybe I did make a mistake. But the results are the same. Here's
the bottom line. You know, it's a good optic. You know, the only things that I really didn't like about the thing was the detents weren't super positive on it. It had some great features, the automatic intensity. It's a great value priced scope. And frankly, if it wasn't advertised as being waterproof, by golly, we wouldn't have stuck it in the water. But it was advertised as so, and we tried it twice, and that part of it failed. So if you get the Lucid HD7 and you appreciate all the other attributes that we did like about it, just know it's not waterproof.
That's my opinion also.
Well, so that sums up our review of the Lucid HD7. Hey, thank you for watching this. And if you like what you saw, subscribe to us on YouTube. Go ahead and take that time to log in and subscribe. And if you're a Facebook user, head on over to Facebook. And
what's that new thing we got?
Oh, not only like us on Facebook, but we have our own website now, www.firemountaineoutdoors.com. Go check it out. Thanks for watching.
Check Webyshops for the latest price, and always remember them when you're looking to purchase your next weapon sight.